to Hickory Blues Barbecue. I'm your host, John Luke. Today's episode, we're going to be working on smoking some meat on a Weber Kettle grill. Yeah, I'm talking about the one that you and your dad and your grandpa and your family used to cook steaks and burgers on. So we're going to be doing something called the indirect heating method. And if you want to know what that is, stick around. We'll find out. Alright guys, so first let's start with what kind of fuel source are we using today. Today we're actually using a charcoal briquette. On the left we have a Royal Oak briquette. These are amazing products, all the time giving us good results. Now this is not saturated in any fuel, so this will have to be lit otherwise. That's why I have on the right, I have a charcoal briquette that is actually from Kroger, and these are pre-soaked, so these are instant light charcoals, and I'm just simply using about 4 or 5 of these briquettes just to get the fire going. So today we're going to be doing what is called a serpentine burn, also known as a snake longevity burn. And what this is basically we have 3 layers of charcoal. We have one on the bottom, we have one on the inner side, and we have one on top. And all the empty spaces like here, I just kind of filled in a couple pieces so that it would still continue burning. And the idea behind this is it's very low maintenance. So as the fire continues to burn, it's basically going to work its way around this U shape here. And with that being said, our first piece of meat is going to lay this way. So as the fire burns clockwise, we're going to have to move our meat in the indirect heat zone. The small few briquettes in the middle, those are pre-soaked, and we'll be lighting those and letting those get white. So let's go ahead and light these babies up. What we're doing here is we're just going to put a little bit of apple juice in the bottom of the cooking pan. And we're going to fill up a quart jar full of water, and we're going to mix that in. And what that's going to do is it's going to catch all of our fat that renders off of our pork loin, but it's also going to keep a steady moisture because this is going to start boiling. And when the boiling happens, it's going to put all kinds of water molecules with our smoke. Alright, now that that's finished, we can set that to the side. Okay, so today I'm smoking a boneless pork loin. This is actually a really large piece of meat. It's weighing in at 8.26 pounds, so this is going to probably be in the 4 to 5 hour range. But first, we got to drain it. So here we got our boneless pork loin. It's all drained and nice and ready to go. One thing I do want to mention is sometimes this will need just a little bit of trimming around the edges. This is a little bit harder fat than I would like to leave on here, and the reason being is under this type of temperature, this type of fat does not like to render. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to just kind of skim off some of this thicker stuff, and hopefully that'll let the smoke penetrate from another angle as well. Now this is one of the most simple rubs you can do on a piece of meat. We have a lemon pepper, we have granulated coarse kosher salt, and that's really it. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to put a good coat on it, but we have one last trick up our sleeve. And the idea is you just want to put a healthy coat. Just put a healthy coat on there, because all of these different flavors are going to be going down into the meat. Alright, but I told you we had a secret up our sleeve. So we're actually going to be injecting this piece of meat with lemon juice. And the reason why we're using lemon juice is actually an acid that breaks the muscle down. So this is going to give us a more tender. So we're just going to inject this 4 times. I got a full syringe, 30 mLs. I'm just going to inject. I'm going to put about half of it in there. And you can see some of the juice is shooting out. And the reason why I'm doing this last is because I want all my rub to stay intact. So as that's cooking, the lemon juice is just going to go right through the meat and it's going to tear it all to pieces. It's going to make a super, super tender pork tenderloin. So it's pretty simple. All I'm going to be doing is just taking my tongs, I'm going to be taking my hot briquettes, and I'm just going to be laying them right over here on top of the new coals. Now you're probably wondering, John, what are you going to be smoking on? What kind of wood are you using? I'm glad you asked. I'm going to be smoking on some apple wood today. So you can see that this is already producing all kinds of smoke, and there's just a little bitty wood chip that's doing all this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my lid on. I'm going to go ahead and let this old pit come up to temp, and we're going to come back here in a little while and put our meat on it. Right, so our cooking chamber is almost to temperature. We're 198 right now. I'm going to go ahead and get the meat on there and get it going. We're going to try to stay between 225 and 250. So after this, I'm going to be cracking my flue to halfway on the top and halfway on the bottom. Normally that keeps you on the low and slow. Alright friends, so we're about an hour and a half into our cook right now. We're going to go ahead and crack the top and see what it's looking like on the inside. Alright friends, so I took the grate off. I just want to put some more chips over there to get that back smoking. The main reason is, if I decide to wrap this thing a little bit later, I don't want to put the smoke too late into the game because it'll kind of distort the flavor. So also I'm going to be cracking this just a little bit more on the vents, that way that it gets a little hotter. I'm going to try to burn a little bit more than 250 or so. Alright friends, we're working on 3 hours in the cook. We're going to go ahead, crack this, see where our wood chips is, see where the charcoal is, see what's happening. Alright, so right away I notice charcoal hasn't made it too far. And we're going to be like over in this ballpark. So we probably have way more than what we need. Let's take a look at the meat here. Looks like the meat has developed this great color to it, but it's not as smoky colored as I like. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the grate. I'm going to put more wood chips over in this area to get this stoked back up. Now, as we talked before, smoke can be pretty dry. So I actually have a squirt bottle, and it has a mixture of basically 75% water, 25% lemon juice. And I'm going to be spraying that on top of the meat to keep it nice and moist. Alright, so it is officially 8 o'clock p.m. We are 4 hours into our cook. I'm going to go ahead and take the lid off. We're going to probe this thing and see what the temperature is. If it's at 140, 145 degrees, we always have a 10-degree increase once we pull it off of the smoker. We're going to go ahead, we're going to pull it, and we're going to let it rest, because at that point it is at the peak season for juices and everything to come to it. So let's see what it is. What we have here is turn this baby around. We're 131 right there. $29. Looks like 131. So just a little bit longer and this baby will be ready to go. Also, we're going to spritz one final time. Alright guys, so we pulled it off the Weber kettle, and it appears that we have a great color, and you can see on top there's all types of juice. But the most important thing I want to point out here is the mendability. This thing is super saturated with fluid still inside of it. So I'm just going to roll this over. You can see where the fat cap is now rendered. And what we're going to do, this just came off of the smoker. I'm going to go ahead and put a sheet of aluminum foil over top of this and let it rest for about 10 to 15 minutes before we make our first cut. It's been about 15 to 20 minutes. We're going to go ahead and cut into this. I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to rotate and see what kind of texture we're getting in this bad boy. So let's see. So initial first cut is pretty tender. You can see the whole meat just squishing. Okay, let's rotate it. I don't know if you can see a puddle of moisture down here forming, but it's super moist. But you can see the pink here. This is what we're going for. This is the smoke ring. You see that light pink color? That means that your smoke has penetrated into the meat really well, giving you flavor. Probably won't need any sauces for this. This is going to be extremely, I mean, you can see it folding over on top of itself. And of course, what would this be a taste test if the puppies didn't get some too? Let's see if this is Paw Patrol approved. Got a few shakes out of that one. Here we go. Let's give her a shot. Oh my God. The smoke flavor is very dominant, but the lemon pepper on the outside, it almost has like a sour kind of wing to it. It's really good. Now, this was probably one of the most easiest things you could do. You just set the temp, set your grate, and you let it go. With barbecue, here's another thing that you have to pay attention to. You want to see what the pull test is. And you can see it's just effortless. I'm just pulling this all to pieces.
Very, very tender. And juicy.
How's the texture? Is it super
Tender.
Oh my goodness, I can't stop. It is amazing. But what I want to say is, if you're looking for a more traditional Texas style, you're looking for black peppercorn, you want to crush it fresh. And also you want to have those big chunks of kosher salt. That'll be the old-fashioned style. But if you like lemons and you're not against trying new things, I would definitely suggest doing a lemon pepper. It gives it a whole different type of flavor. Maybe even go as far as putting some barbecue glaze on the outside and let that sit on the smoker for a little bit. Sky's the limit. Alright guys, so that's all we got for this episode. If you like what you saw today and you would like to continue hanging with us, because we're cool like that obviously, smash that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up on that like. Hit the notification bell. Every time I post, every time there's some delicious new recipe coming up, you will be the first to know. You're family now, so you kind of don't have a choice. We love you. We'll see you soon.